with growing calls for the desperate Democratic Party to move even further left, as if that's the answer. Top Democrats tell Axios the party is in its deepest hole in nearly 50 years, and they list out like 12 reasons for that. And they fear it will only get worse as time goes on. So who's the new Democratic savior this week? Bring in Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's been increasingly discussed as a leading star of the party, even among centrists, interestingly. And now the New York Times is naming AOC as a potential 2028 presidential contender. Democrats are doubling down on their progressive policies that lost them the White House and Congress. That's the big picture here. And they're looking for a leader to encapsulate that. Quote, though there is little disagreement about who will emerge to guide progressives into a post-Sanders era, virtually everyone interviewed said there was one clear leader for the job, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. You know, Sandra, I want to bring up this picture, and it is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez kind of languishing away at the border. This was during Trump era 1.0. And she's in this beautiful white outfit, and she's protesting, and it was very dramatic. And the country is just a long way from that image and that moment, encapsulated by this Washington Post headline. I mean, this is WAPO. I never thought I'd see a headline like this. Trump's migrant roundups have a crucial ally, public opinion. And they note there 89% support deporting criminals, 62% support deporting non-violent criminals. We're a long way from that kind of progressivism.
A lot that Mark Penn said the other day stuck out to me about looking at the Democratic Party and making the same mistakes that they did of yesteryear, and it's not standing for something. In fact, I thought his advice to his party was really instructive. He said, make up a list of things you really want and a list of things that you're willing to cooperate with. Are you willing to cooperate with closing the border? Bringing up that picture made me think of that. Or was it all a ruse and you're really for an open border? Are you willing to cooperate with reducing the size of government and the deficit forces them into the Doge situation? Are you for it or are you against it? Do you have things that you want like climate change, inflation, helping working people that you can put forth to do a compromise? And I think Democrats would behoove themselves if they took a good hard look and asked themselves that question. But he was very firm in his warning to his party. If AOC were to come in with a challenge here, he said every moderate that is left, any moderate, I should say, that is left in that party is going to flee. And this is going to be a party no more because they just can't keep moving further to the left based on what we have seen with recent elections.
Yeah, Paul, here's the quagmire. The Democratic base is spoiling for a fight. And we have an NBC poll that reflects that. 65% say they would rather not see the party get things done and stick to their guns, even if it means just gridlock in Washington. And that's versus 32%. That's Democrats. But when you broaden it out, 50%, majority of the country essentially say congressional Democrats are too critical of Trump. So you have this disconnect. You've got to please the 34,000 people showing up to a Sanders AOC rally, but you don't want to lose the middle.
Yeah, I think, they're misreading the room here, and they're misreading where the fault line is on the left. Right now, the schism is between the hyper-progressives and this more traditional moderates. So, sure, you can get 30,000 people on the mall in Washington, D.C., because that's blue Washington, right? That's progressive Washington. That was a swamp-class picture is what that was, okay? But, okay, sure, you can get it there. But are there no lessons to be learned from the recent election where all the traditional Democratic voting blocs moved to the right? And what Donald Trump really did is he managed to capture a lot of the traditional Democratic blue-collar workers. The reason why he did so well in Michigan, the tariffs are going to help that because this is one of the things that the Democrats have been asking for a long time, which we need to bring back manufacturing. Now, reasonable minds can disagree on tariffs, but the bottom line is he wants to bring the manufacturing here. And just coming up with bumper sticker campaigns like fight the oligarchy. If you went into that crowd and said specifically, what is the oligarchy? What are you fighting? Who's the oligarchy that you're really concerned? How does it affect your life? You're going to get blank stares. It doesn't compel. And last thing real quick, we know AOC in this city here in New York. This is the person who killed the Amazon jobs who were coming in here. She was part of that cadre that killed thousands of good jobs. Number two, she was the Duchess of Defund. So these are all things that have gone way down the tank here that nobody wants, and those are her legacy. Who they should be listening to is Fetterman. that's a different story.
100% agree with that. Marie, and people like Alyssa Slotkin. So your party puts up, as the State of the Union response, Alyssa Slotkin, who outperformed Kamala in a ton of places. But then when you look at the map, you've got a tough 2026 Senate map. You have only 2 Republicans in districts that Kamala won versus 23 last time around in Trump administration and Hillary districts. So what do you do? How do you thread the needle? Your party wants someone like Alyssa Slotkin, but the only person getting double digits as party leader is AOC.
I think the party actually understands there's a place for both. The Alyssa Slotkins, Josh Shapiro's, Wes Moores of the world, they are winning in states that matter, right? They are putting forward a moderate view of how to grow the middle class. By the way, it's not tariffs. As tariffs start to really impact the middle class, voters in states like Michigan that are incredibly impacted by trade with Canada are going to be really mad at Donald Trump. But AOC is getting tens of thousands of people at these rallies, and there are some early signs that Republicans are in a little bit of trouble. First, we've seen all of these Republican town halls.
The Democrat town halls are crazy.
Let me finish. And then, for example, in a seat like Mike Waltz's seat, his open seat in Florida, the Democrat has raised $9 million, and the Republican has raised under $1 million. Republicans in Congress now that I'm talking to are worried that they are going to either lose that seat or it's going to be very close. So there's a lot of discontent right now in the country in general. But what I am hearing is that average voters whose prices haven't gone down, who are worried about tariffs, whose friends are losing their job, look at the richest man in the world, look at this billionaire cabinet, and they think, Donald Trump said he was going to make my life better. It's not. It's worse. And AOC and other Democrats are actually putting forward an economic vision for the middle class. And we can talk about everything from middle class tax cuts, not tax cuts for the wealthy. I mean, look at Kamala Harris's platform, quite frankly. Housing.
Which didn't work. How did that work out? 80 million votes for Trump, nearly.
But this is the thing. When voters in the middle class see that Trump's policies are not working for them, and they are not, and Democrats can, the midterm, Republicans, downplay this opposition at their own peril. I lived through the Obamacare town halls. When you start counseling town halls,
but the talking point about town halls, I'm sorry, is nullified.
It's
Glenn
not.
Ivey had a town
Just
hall.
wait
I don't know
until next November.
I'll send you the footage. We played it on this show last week. Glenn Ivey's in a deep blue district. He held a town hall. He was shouted down.
Because they want him to be more progressive and more anti-Trump.
And he was saying Chuck Schumer should step down, but that wasn't progressive enough.
For a different reason than Republicans are being
It's interestingly,
down.
and we're gathering the footage actually for this show of all the town halls. It's not just deep blue Virginia. It's elsewhere in the country as well. Kaylee McGee-White, someone who disagrees with Marie Harf, is Bill Maher. He thinks Democrats have not hit the bottom yet. Watch this.
Just saw this is really bad news for Democrats. 2030 reapportionment, there's a group called the American Redistricting Project, and in 5 years we will be redistricting. California is projected to lose 3 seats, New York 2, also going to lose a seat, Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Illinois, all blue states. Who's getting these? Texas, Florida, Idaho, and Utah. I mean, this looks like game over.
Game over, Kaylee.
And this is the political reality that Democrats don't want to face. And look, we can talk about how there's a lot of anger among the Democratic base in particular, but the fact is that rage and resentment is not a winning agenda. And when you look at Trump, he was not selling rage and resentment. He was selling an agenda that works for the working class and actually betters the lives of all Americans, which, by the way, his economic agenda did a great job during his first term. I don't hear any Democrats raising that point. And I'll just say, Democrats think that they can change the perception of their party without changing the actual policies that led to the negative perception in the first place. You cannot run someone like AOC or Bernie Sanders on a national scale. And I say this as someone who is from one of those critical swing states back in my home state of Michigan. If you think Kamala Harris did poorly, just wait until you run AOC, who is very comfortable in her D+28 advantage New York district in the swing state of Michigan. It will never work. The party has to go back to the center, and you deny that at your own peril.
Can I just finish this talking point about prices coming down in 2 months?
That was 2 months.
From the record highs that were set under the previous administration. I think it's only pushing the fact that prices were run up so much under a Democratic administration, and oil and gas prices and energy prices and electricity prices have come down. So I think you have to let these policies have a chance, because once you have lower energy prices work through a system, that can eventually lead to lower prices. But 2 months that's pretty quick.
We'll see. 2 months, and there's still plurality support for terror.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.